Is God forgivable? The short answer is yes. The not so short answer goes something like this. God does not need our forgiveness. After all, many of us grew up with the kind of religion that says God is perfect. Everything happens for a reason. God never makes a mistake, so getting upset with God when bad things happen means you don't have faith. I actually think that mentality is a shallow expression of faith, which doesn't really match the rich tradition we've inherited from our Jewish forebears. The Psalms are full of examples of faithful people bringing their honest questions to God. Psalm 22 is one of my favorites. It may be familiar to you because Jesus quotes the first line as he's hanging from the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me? If Jesus prays like that, then why can't we? Do yourself a favor. After this video, go read the rest of Psalm 22. It carries much more meaning when we read it in light of Jesus' actions on Good Friday. It also means more to me when we talk about forgiving God. I recently asked some other friends and pastors this question with mixed replies. Some asked whether or not this is even the right question. Others wondered if it could help people who are feeling slighted by God and now they have a grudge. Let me tell you why I've been asking if God is forgivable. My name is Joe Varner. I've been a Methodist pastor for over 10 years. I remember talking to a fraternity brother one night in college, 17 years ago. He's an Iraq War veteran. He grew up Methodist, but what he saw as a Marine shook his faith. How could God let this happen? I've been asking that question myself. As a kid, my family experienced our own tragic losses. Asking why God lets these things happen led me to this one. If God allows bad things to happen, then is God forgivable? Can we forgive God for letting bad things happen? I think asking this question may be one way for people who've been hurt to open the door for healing and maybe even restore their relationship with God. People who are hurting as a result of trauma often hide it as a way of coping. What if asking a simple question like this is the key for unlocking the trauma that you, your friends, or your family keep hiding from? Or worse, what if hiding from the pain is manifesting itself in unhealthy ways like alcoholism, drug abuse, gambling, self-harm, you name it? To be fair, I don't imagine the triune God sitting on a throne anxiously waiting for our forgiveness. It's also reasonable to assume that many who hear or read this question will frantically pursue a theological or academic rebuttal. Let's save that debate for another time. People who are slowly drowning in the mud of trauma don't need seminary lectures about the holiness of God. They need a lifeline. I wonder if this question is just one lifeline for people who are not just hurting, they're also dealing with a crisis of faith. Bad things keep happening to good people. That's an oversimplified statement. Nonetheless, you get the point. The pain problem is real and it's not going away. There's pain and suffering in the world. You feel it. I feel it. We all experience more than enough physical, mental, and emotional hardship. Without help, the pain we feel in our mind, in our heart, and our body quickly creates a spiritual problem. We all wrestle with the same conundrum when faced with pain. We ask questions like, is there a God? If so, does God care? If there's a God who cares, then why did this bad thing happen? Which leads me back to the original question. If there's a God, and if God cares, and even if God cares and has a reason for letting this happen, can I forgive God? Is God forgivable? I know my answer. I even know how I want you to answer, but this is not as important as giving you the space to begin asking for yourself, can I forgive God? For those of you who already know the answer, the rest of this message may not be for you right now. However, you may know someone who's wrestling with God. On the other hand, if you're the one who's on the wrestling mat and you feel like you're losing the fight, then this is for you. You're the one who experienced tragedy and you can't begin to understand why God would let this happen. You want answers and you're not getting them. Now you have a grudge against God. What do you do now? Can you forgive God? You say to yourself, well, maybe if I knew God was sorry, or maybe if I got an apology. How can I forgive someone who shows no remorse? Here's a suggestion. You can take it or leave it. If you've been in that place and you're tired of feeling angry, sad, alone, and scared, take another look at the cross. What if Jesus' death is God's apology to you? That sounds heretical to some people, but what's the worst that could happen? Jesus already died and came back. You won't crucify him again by opening your mind to the possibility that one of the reasons Jesus gave his life on the cross is for you to forgive his Father. It begs the question, would it be enough? Could it be a start to a new kind of relationship with God if you knew he actually cares and already did something about it? If you're still with me, I want you to try something. Take a moment and collect all the reasons you're angry with the world. The countless lives that were taken too soon. The natural disasters, the acts of terrorism, war, violence, disease, pain, and suffering. Everything that accounts for just a portion of the emotional baggage we carry around with us whether we know it or not. Now picture every article in that emotional baggage as individual splinters that collectively create a heavy wooden post. Each splinter in the wooden post represents a painful event, act of violence, natural disaster, tragic loss, or whatever you're carrying around. All your pain, heartache, grief, and anger is absorbed into that big bundle of tightly packed splinters. Then imagine Jesus picking up that load and carrying it on his shoulders. Would you let him take it away? Maybe God doesn't need our forgiveness. That doesn't mean we don't need to do the work of forgiving God anyway. The next time you begin to feel the weight of anger towards God, doubt beginning to rise, or loneliness sinking in, try imagining Jesus 2,000 years ago, picking up your cross when you couldn't. Let him take it away so you can learn to live unburdened by resentment towards God. Then you may find yourself on the pathway of peace that you've never known before, but knew you always wanted. Let me pray with you. God, in our times of pain and confusion, many of us get lost wondering if you're even out there, and if you are, do you care? Are you concerned at all? And then we see Jesus on the cross. We remember the words in James. For the sake of the joy that was before him, he endured the cross. And maybe our pain is just another expression of the birth pains, as your servant Paul wrote. That what we experience here, although it is very real, does not compare to the glory that will be revealed on the other side. And like those birth pains, we ask that the joy in our future with you will far outweigh any amount of suffering we've experienced here. Send out your Spirit to give us that hope. Instill in us the courage to have joy, even in the face of sorrow. And help us so to love and serve you in this world, that those who are hurting will find in us generous friends. It's in your name I pray. Amen. I'm really glad we had this time to be together, and I hope with every ounce of my being that this simple question will at least crack the door to a new way of living that will free you from the burden of doubt, anger, and resentment, so that you will know hope, love, joy, and peace. Take care and God bless.